Sometimes games are about realistic challenges, but sometimes they're just about being totally awesome in a way no one else can match. Hey folks, it's me, Mr. Games, and today we're diving into 10 games where you get to be the boss. Just a heads up though, this list isn't set in stone. There are always more games like this out there, so if I don't mention your favorite, don't rage quit on me. I'll definitely do more of these. At number 10, we've got Asura's Wrath, a game that cranks the dial to 11 and breaks it clean off. This isn't just an action game, it's a wild mashup of epic proportions. Sure, at its core, it's an action game, but it throws in insane boss fights that feel like they're ripped straight out of the most over-the-top anime you've ever seen. And yeah, they're challenging, but not so tough that you'll be chucking your controller across the room. Asura, the main dude, is a demigod on a rampage, and the story revolves around his revenge on the other demigods who stabbed him in the back. The gameplay bounces between classic third-person action, rail shooter segments, and a whole lot of interactive cutscenes with QTEs. On paper, it might sound like a chaotic mess, but trust me, when you're in the thick of it, it's a high-octane thrill ride. You'll feel like an unstoppable force of nature. If you're not dishing out the pain, you're probably taking it. And the whole vibe of the game? Pure wrath. It's bizarre, it's intense, and it's absolutely worth experiencing if you want to feel like an absolute powerhouse. Coming in at number 9, we've got Prototype, where you step into the shoes of Alex Mercer, a guy who doesn't just beat his enemies, he becomes them. Alex has the wild ability to consume others, absorbing their abilities and memories. But that's not all. His main gig is shapeshifting. Need razor-sharp claws to shred through enemies? No problem. Want your arm to morph into a massive blade of destruction? Go for it. Basically, if you can dream it, Alex can probably turn into it. What's even crazier is the game's roots. Did you know Prototype was born from the ashes of a cancelled Spider-Man project? That's right, Prototype actually uses the same engine. And if you've played it, you can totally see how the fast-paced movement and momentum were inspired by swinging through New York as Spidey. The sequel, Prototype 2, builds on everything that made the first game awesome, putting you in control of James Heller. Heller picks up right where Mercer left off, wielding a similar arsenal of shape-shifting chaos. Long story short, Prototype is pure, unfiltered power fantasy, and it absolutely rocks. At number 8, it's the legendary Devil May Cry series, starring the one and only Dante. If there's a gaming definition of badass, it's this guy. Dante isn't just a demon hunter. He's a walking highlight reel of style, wit, and chaos. From his insane sword skills to his dual pistols, ebony and ivory, Dante makes taking out demons look effortless. Oh, and let's not forget his one-liners. This dude could make even the most intense boss battle feel like an action comedy. What really sets Dante apart is his flair. He doesn't just fight, he performs. Juggling enemies mid-air while cracking jokes, that's just another Tuesday for him. And it's not just about flash. Dante's power is off the charts. Whether he's activating his devil trigger to unleash his demonic side or wielding crazy weapons like a guitar that shoots lightning, Dante is a force of nature that doesn't hold back. The Devil May Cry series thrives on its stylish combat and over-the-top energy, and Dante is the reason it all works. He's the guy who will face down literal hell and walk away with a smirk. Few characters can match his swagger, and honestly, no one else can make demon slaying look this good. At number 7, we've got the one and only Kratos from God of War. Particularly in the first 3 games, Kratos isn't just a character, he's a wrecking ball of rage and destruction. Sure, the more recent entries hone things down, focusing more on fatherhood and dealing with consequences, but let's be real. Those consequences? Yeah, he caused them by annihilating literally everything in the earlier games. By the time you hit God of War 3, Kratos isn't just fighting gods, he's erasing them from existence. One brutal battle at a time, and here's the kicker, he succeeds. Think about it, how many games let you straight up murder the entire pantheon? Not many. Why? Because it takes a special kind of badass to make that premise work. And Kratos? He's exactly that kind of badass. If there's one thing this guy knows, it's how to turn divine beings into distant memories. Coming in at number 6, we've got Saints Row 4. Which is basically what happens when you mix Grand Theft Auto with a superhero simulator, crank the chaos to max, and throw logic out the window. Imagine all the wild stuff you can't do in GTA, but now you can. Yep, it's that kind of game. Let's go. Here's the setup. You're the boss, now President of the United States, of course, when aliens invade and trap the Saints in a simulation. It's basically the Matrix, but let's just call it that because it's easier. What follows is pure, unfiltered insanity. Superpowers? Check. Ridiculous weapons? Absolutely. The freedom to wreak havoc in the most over-the-top ways, you bet. The devs leaned all the way into the absurdity, and it works. This is Saints Row at its most ridiculous, and honestly, that's what makes it so fun. Flying around, smashing everything in sight, and unleashing mayhem never gets old. And hey, where's the next one already? Let's keep the madness going. Coming in at number 5, it's the legendary Doom series, where you don't just fight demons, you obliterate them. Stepping into the boots of the Doom Slayer is like flipping a switch from zero to full-on carnage. There's no sneaking around, no hiding behind cover, just you, a whole lot of firepower, and an endless horde of hellspawn that made the mistake of messing with the wrong guy. The beauty of Doom is its simplicity. Rip and tear until it's done. The combat is fast, brutal, and relentless, with the Doom Slayer wielding iconic weapons like the shotgun, the BFG, and even a chainsaw for when you're feeling particularly up close and personal. Every fight feels like a heavy metal concert, and you're the star. What sets the Doom series apart is its unapologetic commitment to chaos. Whether you're tearing through Mars, hell, or somewhere in between, the adrenaline never stops. The Doom Slayer doesn't talk much, but honestly, he doesn't need to. His actions speak loud enough. Few games capture the sheer power fantasy like Doom, and it's a legacy that's still ripping through the gaming world. Coming in at number 4, we've got the Infamous series, where you step into the shoes of a guy who goes from average Joe to electric powerhouse. You play as Cole McGrath, or his alternate universe counterpart, depending on which game, a dude who gets supercharged with insane powers after a freak explosion. The catch? You get to choose whether to use those powers for good, bad, or somewhere in between. What makes Infamous so special is that it's not just about having powers, it's about feeling them. Whether you're zipping around the city like a human lightning bolt, throwing electric blasts, or manipulating enemies, you're always in control of that godlike power. The moral choices are huge though. Do you go full-on hero, saving the city? Or do you embrace your darker side and rain destruction on everything in your path? Either way, you're an unstoppable force. The open world setting gives you tons of freedom to explore, wreak havoc, or become the savior you're destined to be. Infamous lets you play out that ultimate power fantasy where every action, whether heroic or villainous, feels like a blast. The true fun? It's in deciding whether to save or scorch the world with your electric hands. Either way, you're gonna shock them. Coming in at number 3, it's Bayonetta, the ultimate power fantasy with a witch who takes on angels, demons, and just about anything that stands in her way. Bayonetta is, without a doubt, one of the most overpowered main characters in gaming. Armed with guns on her heels and a whole arsenal of magic powers, she doesn't just fight, she dominates every enemy that crosses her path. What makes Bayonetta so cool is how effortlessly she combines insane combat, style, and over-the-top moves. She summons demons, slows time, and literally uses her own hair to unleash some of the most crazy, epic finishing moves in gaming. Every fight feels like a choreographed dance of destruction, and Bayonetta is the star. And let's not forget her sharp wit and confident attitude, which adds a whole other level of swagger to her overpowered persona. It's the kind of game where you feel like an absolute badass, effortlessly taking down massive foes in the most stylish ways possible. Bayonetta doesn't just let you be overpowered, it makes you feel it with every second of gameplay. If you're all about an overpowered MC who owns every fight with attitude and flair, then this one is a no-brainer. Coming in at number 2, we've got Skyrim, where you're not just the Dragonborn, you're a god in the making. The beauty of Skyrim is that you start out as a nobody, but by the time you're done, you're slaying dragons, casting powerful spells, and taking down ancient evils with just a flick of your wrist. The entire world is your playground, and you can build your character to be as overpowered as you want, whether through magic, combat, or stealth. What really pushes the overpowered aspect is the way Skyrim lets you grow. You can become an unstoppable force by mastering the shouts of the dragons, harnessing the power of ancient magic, and taking on everything from bandits to gods themselves. The customization options are insane, letting you craft the perfect warrior, mage, or assassin, or just be the most ridiculously powerful hybrid that can take down an army in seconds. The game's open world is massive, with countless dungeons, quests, and enemies to face, but with the right combination of skills, you can walk into any fight and come out on top without breaking a sweat. Skyrim lets you live out your ultimate power fantasy, whether you're storming through dungeons or casually wiping out entire factions without a care in the world. The Dragonborn is more than just a title. It's a statement that you're the most powerful being in Tamriel. Coming in at number 1, we've got Jesse Faden from Control. At first, she's just a regular woman looking for her brother, but by the end, she's bending reality to her will. Jessie starts off with basic telekinesis, but soon she's flinging massive chunks of the environment around like they're nothing. Her powers evolve to include levitation, gravity manipulation, and even a shield to block bullets. And that's just the start. Inside the ever-shifting Federal Bureau of Control, Jessie becomes a force of nature, controlling the world around her as she faces increasingly tougher enemies. By the end, Jessie isn't just the most powerful person in the Bureau, she's rewriting reality itself. That's why Jesse Faden takes the top spot. In Control, you're not just powerful, you're in complete control. Alright, that's it for today's list, but I want to hear from you. What overpowered games do you think we missed? Drop your suggestions in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed the video. Catch you in the next one.